You have been working in this market for quite some time. What have been your learning about India job market? What are the challenges that you see, and what is the potential that this market holds?
So I think India has massive growth potential, right?
तो इंडिया की जॉब नीड्स काफ़ी डाइवर्स हैं. इफ़ आई टॉक अबाउट अपना, तो आप ये जो पर्टिकुलर सेगमेंट है इसकी अपस्किलिंग के ऊपर क्या कुछ इनिशिएटिव्स आप ले रहे हैं या
People say कि job matching, people को match कर दो, AI को कर दो, हो जाएगा. But think about it. A lot of you might have had LinkedIn, might have had heard about these big companies. अभी भी होता है. Can LinkedIn just magically match you to your dream job and everything happens on your own?
Hello everyone, welcome to season finale of Salaried Talks powered by Apna, which is the leading job search and networking platform based in India, जहाँ पे multiple लोगों को अपनी पहली जॉब मिली है, कई लोगों ने अपनी नई जॉब्स एक्सप्लोर की हैं, and there are people out there who are getting their dream jobs through Apna. And in this season finale episode, I have with me Karna, who is CEO at Apna, and this is a very exciting episode क्योंकि आप अगर Karna की जर्नी देखेंगे, he has been to IIT, he has been to Stanford, and now he is taking a leap of faith and has jumped into entrepreneurship to solve for job problems in India. So without taking further time, I'd like to introduce you to Karna. Karna, welcome to Salaried Talk Show.
Hi.
And can you walk us through your career journey? It has been very exciting. How the things have been, how things have started for you.
I think career journey to yaar, from a small town Vadodara in Gujarat, born and brought up in a middle class family. My parents, my father, my grandfather, they all come from an entrepreneurial background themselves. So they have like a small jewelry business. So that kind of continued. But my dad always felt ki it cannot grow as big. So right from the childhood, there was always this idea ki you have to get educated and do well at academic school, like a lot of parents do, and do well. So that helped me get focused, pick my career of engineering. So got into IIT, and obviously that opened a lot of doors of opportunities and access to what happens outside, right? A lot of my career discovery started from that place, and that led me to ITC, where I worked in their manufacturing setup. Post that, I went to US for my MBA, and after that I worked at Uber in US, across Europe, and then by that time Nirmit, who I met during my MBA at Stanford, actually had kicked off Apna, and I started spending time with the team on what they are doing and just fell absolutely in love with what they were doing, the potential impact we could create at Apna, and took up lunch of scaling Apna, and then all good things started. All the good problems which come with scaling a business and growing the business. So that's been my journey so far.
Great. Talking about your childhood days, you come from a business family. Was plan always to get into IIT? Or also the plan was, because I see a lot of Gujarati families very focused on business. Ambanis, Adanis, everybody comes from Gujarat. So what was it about growing up when you were?
I think DNA is there. For me personally, as I said, thoda, my dad, my grandfather and my dad always feel at the end you should do business. But he was very clear that without great education, you will hit some ceiling in how you grow the business. So there was very high awareness कि यार पढ़ाई करना है, मतलब you have to do well at academics. But IIT तो exposure नहीं था. जैसे गुजरात में तो सब बिजनेस वाले, तो IIT का तो कोई कल्चर कंसेप्ट था ही नहीं. देन आई हर्ड मेरे स्कूल में एक बच्चा कोटा जा रहा है. भाई क्यों जा रहा है? लाइक कोटा तो सुना भी नहीं था. मतलब गुजरात में, वाइल मे बी इट्स बिग इन एवरीवेयर एल्स, गुजरात में नोबडी हैड हर्ड अबाउट कोटा. मतलब कौन जाएगा, राइट? देन आई हर्ड कि वो वहाँ पे IIT का कोचिंग सेटअप होता है, ये होता है, वो होता है. And that's when the awareness came up, and but at the same time itna willingness nahi tha, like, oh, you leave your hometown at such a young age. But luckily there was a coaching center which had just started by a teacher from Kota, in Vadodara, in the small town, and few of my school people were going there. So I actually joined that coaching very late. That's after 10th. And once I joined the coaching, that's when all the good things happened, right? I realized the potential, and luckily, without much exposure, I was able to get through. There were few students around me who kept pushing each other. There was a very small group of people who did that. I remember in my year, maybe there were 2 or 3 people in the entire city
Right.
who went to IITs. And yeah, so it was never the plan, but it worked out that way.
So what's so special about IIT करना? क्या वहाँ पे इन्वायरमेंट ऐसा होता है, नेटवर्क ऐसा होता है कि आप अपना, जैसे हमने देखा इंडिया के मैक्सिमम एंटरप्रेन्योर्स कम फ्रॉम आईआईटी, व्हाट्स सो डिफरेंट अबाउट दैट इंस्टीट्यूट?
यार frankly, I don't know about the institute, but मैं एक चीज़ बताता हूँ आपको. IIT has an advantage because they obviously, because of the biggest brand in India, they attract the most number of hardworking students, right? It's as simple as that.
राइट.
वो आपको एक मैराथन की तैयारी करता है. The entrance exam for IIT, which you know, IIT JEE,
राइट.
is like a marathon. मतलब you are getting people who are gonna be disciplined. You have to be disciplined. एक आपको मैराथन क्रैक करना है,
राइट.
तो यार 2 साल का मैराथन क्रैक करना होता है. यू हैव टू बी डिसिप्लिन. यू आर लर्निंग न्यू थिंग्स एवरी डे, बट यू हैव टू कीप डूइंग इट कंसिस्टेंटली बिकॉज देयर सो मच थिंग्स टू डू. तो यार ये एक स्किल सेट होता है. सो यू अट्रैक्ट अ bunch of people who are trained to run a marathon, and now you're put together and given them all the resources, etc., and they help push each other. So I think that environment brings out the best in a lot of people. I'm pretty sure a lot of colleges in India are also pretty fantastic.
राइट.
It's just that IIT, being the brand they are, have an ability to attract so many people who have trained to do that.
Got it. So basically top talent coming at one institute and then competing
Yeah,
with each other.
correct.
Talking about top institute, you also went to Stanford. Talk about your days there, कि वहाँ पे क्या learning थी and how you built your network out there.
So Stanford was one thing which I really enjoyed at Stanford was, and not many people may know about it, I think they have something called grade non-disclosure policy.
Okay.
So
what's that?
वो काफ़ी एलियन कंसेप्ट लगा मुझे भी. इंडिया से गया तो द कंसेप्ट क्या होता है, ग्रेड नॉन डिस्क्लोजर. Nobody will tell you your grades.
Oh, nice.
So you won't be asked your grades by any company. You're not expected to tell your grades to any company, and none of your peers are supposed to talk about grades. And the grades are not public. Nowhere you can find it. So the idea is you're going for MBA. I think the idea of MBA is people are coming there to explore careers, explore what they want to do, explore their passion. Now, if you are very much stuck into getting the grades, people end up taking the course they are good at.
Right.
But that's not the goal, right? मैं गया था कि to figure out what I'm good at, and what if I'm not good at, I should learn that. So that approach of, yeah, you go, don't worry about your grades. Obviously, you have to pass and do well to get out of it. But that mindset shift was just fantastic. I did not expect that. I was pleasantly surprised by that element. And what that did is competition was very friendly. What I mean is, it's again a bunch of smart people put together, but the environment was such that, oh, I can help you in this. I have done this.
Oh, nice.
Right? So when grades are not even on top of
I
mind
think
from
quite
you.
drastic from India.
Correct.
Education जहाँ पे cut throat है, placements के लिए सारे
हाँ.
compete कर रहे
So
हैं.
and placements be actually very interestingly. So आप in MBA you go, right? A lot of time our school says no one is supposed to search for internship in the first semester.
Right.
Versus if you go in other places, they're saying, "Nahin, go figure out your internships."
हाँ.
Their idea is, please do not apply for any internship in the first semester. And the reason is what? Yeah, you are here to figure out what you like. So the first semester is just filled with people from different industries, entrepreneurs, finance, consulting, all careers you can imagine, right from emerging technologies to traditional industries. They're all coming to the campus, talking about their industry, courses, and then you figure out, yeah, what do you like? And after that is when they say, okay, first semester is over. Then they actually start helping you. How do you navigate your career? How do you apply for opportunities? And that was very, very surprising for me. So I think that's the other element where I realized that, okay, I do want to get into the tech. I want to be in the tech industry where I can see a tech product or a service scaling to millions.
Right.
And that became my passion. And I figured out my passion very closely when I was there. And yeah, I also met, as I meant, networking was quite important, and you surround yourself there with people who think similarly. That's how I met also Nirmit, who is the founder and the CEO of Apna.
Right.
And we were working on a lot of ideas. We wanted to build a business together. So, but not Apna related. So at that time it was completely different
Exploring
things.
out
Yeah,
this.
we had something on. We were building like a drone charging station. हमारा hypothesis था कि यार, in the future if drones are there, but drones cannot travel long.
Right.
Right, or drones have to go back. The ability
I
for
think
drones is
quite
very short.
relevant in this time.
Correct.
जब
But
साल.
what if you have, like Tesla has charging stations everywhere else?
Right.
We were building, okay, in future for drones to actually become commercial, they will need to go longer distances. So what if we create a network of charging stations? So we worked on a bunch of that ideas. There were a few others, but this one was where we were pretty kicked about it. I still believe it's gonna get built at some point,
Right.
and that will turbocharge the whole drone delivery space. We are already seeing that. So, but yeah, surround yourself with good people you enjoy working with. And this is something also I learned when I was there. Sam Altman, who we all know
OpenAI,
as a
right.
OpenAI CEO, he was Y Combinator. So in one of the places he had given a speech. What he told is, make sure you are friends with smart people, and if you are friends with smart people, figure out a way to work with them.
Right.
Right. So I took that at heart. So a lot of people I build relationship is, again, they are smart, they are great people to be with. And if you're friends with them, you would obviously want to work with those people as well. So that's something which I learned from Stanford on valuing the network and actually going above and beyond for that.
Got it. I think one thing that I would like to touch base on ki lot of people get their first job through Apna. How was your first job like? Was
Yeah.
it? Can you just briefly touch base on that as well?
So yeah. So yeah, my first job was after IIT. The good thing was IIT has fantastic placement cell, right? So they
Right.
bring all the top companies. So yeah, surprisingly or something, I didn't have a lot more guidance. It was the guidance is, hey, you have to focus on day zero companies. जो company day zero आती है उनको crack करना होता है.
Right.
And for that, whatever you need, you do in terms of your grades, your extracurriculars, etc. So that's what I did actually. Lucky, I got into ITC Limited at that point, which was a day zero company, which kickstarted my career. But my learning at that point, as I look back, is I would have loved to know that I should be exploring multiple industries as well before I pick my path. And that is something now I would advise everyone else. Ki college is a fantastic time to explore what careers you want. And now with all the access of content, all the which wasn't available as openly when I was graduating, to but take advantage of this. यार उससे पता चलेगा आपको क्या मजा आ रहा है, क्या नहीं मजा आ रहा है, very easily before going through a long way of doing that.
You talked about Stanford. You talked about networking. Can you walk me through your journey of Apna कि आपने कैसे start किया and why? What problem are you trying to solve for? Yeah.
So I think I'll tell you a little bit about why I joined Apna, because I joined early stage when Nirmit had started Apna.
Right.
And then I'll tell you also about Nirmit's story of why we built Apna and what for. I think for me, so a little bit about Apna, right? Apna's mission is to connect people with opportunities and mainly focus on the professional sphere. And currently, we are India's largest and fastest growing jobs and careers platform, right? So we help people build a digital identity, which a lot of people didn't have, get access to the best jobs, and also connect and network with each other, because we realized people were not learning from each other in the space. So that's why we built Apna. And so this mission of connecting people to opportunities is an important reason why I joined Apna. And I would love to share a little bit why, right? Like
Right.
why this mission connects to me, because for every entrepreneur, founder, or even an employee who is joining a company, mission of the company is very,
Very
critical for you to know, and whether it relates to you or not. So for me, the reason Apna's mission is soul and full of why I want to do this is my learnings when I did my first job, right, at ITC, where
Okay.
I took up my first job after IIT. I think the like, you come from IIT, you imagine you'll solve all these hard technical problem and business problems, right? And same did I think. So I joined this factory of ITC. They were a food manufacturing unit, and when I was there, I was like a fresher who looked like a schoolboy. I've aged very fast for some reason. But everyone in that factory was 20 years doing the same thing, right? And I was supposed to go and like advise them or manage that and figure it out. And one thing which is the most underappreciated about engineering, right? Like many of people who may not even realize this, that the engineering teaches you one very important skill, which a lot of us are using in our day-to-day business careers, which nobody knows what it is. So I told you, yeah, I joining JE and getting into IT was a marathon. But once you get into any engineering college, it is a training ground for multiple sprints into the unknown. Every single semester, like, you go through multiple exams, and like most engineers, आखिरी एक दो दिन में ही पढ़ाई होता है.
48 या 60 सब्जेक्ट्स आप 4 ईयर में पूरे कंप्लीट
Correct.
करते हो.
Which is अनइमेजिनेबल, बिकॉज
Right.
आपको कुछ नहीं पता है उस टॉपिक्स के बारे में,
Right.
राइट. एंड बट आपको जो एक ट्रेनिंग हो रहा है ना कि यार एक अननोन टॉपिक है, आपके पास 12 से 24 घंटा है फिगर आउट करने के लिए, प्रायोरिटाइज करने के लिए क्या करोगे क्या नहीं करोगे, एंड गो डिलीवर इट and keep doing that again and again 48 times in
Right.
that 4 years.
Right.
Imagine that training which we all have gotten as engineering students of यार unknown होगा, figure out कर लेना छोटे time में, and we do that. So that's the skill I remember and take away, and that's what I took ITC. Okay, I don't know how to advise these people, I'll figure it out. And so I started working hard to set up the new manufacturing line. तो चालू किया काम, हमें लाइन चालू करना था, एंड आई डिड ऑल द हार्ड वर्क यार. इंजीनियरिंग डिज़ाइन किया, वेंडर्स निगोसिएशन, HVAC सिस्टम, ऑल द टेक्निकल स्टफ नीडेड. एंड तो 3 महीने का टाइम था. 2 months before I was confident हो जाएगा, मस्त, I was on top of things. Then I chatted with my HR head कि we need 300 people, where are we? I said yeah, we have 50. I was like, oh, 50 only, why? So we can't hire people so upfront, right? It's a cost if the plant is not on. So I said हाँ ठीक है चलो. So then 2 weeks go by, maybe 50 only became like 55, 70
Right.
पहुंचा था. I remember the number. Now I started panicking and कि यार कैसे 300 कैसे पहुंचेगा. So our recruiter also started panicking. He started sending people to nearby villages. वो हफ्ते में 2-3 लोग लेके आ रहा है.
और तब टेक इतना स्ट्रांग था नहीं.
There was no
Pregnant-
Geo, there was no smartphone,
Right.
so you can't reach people that easily, right? And so and that's when I realized यार hiring in India is hard. हम लोग बाहर निकलते हमें लगता है कि India has so many jobs and people need jobs, maybe, which all is true, but still hiring is extremely hard.
Right.
And so end of the story, I failed in my project to deliver on time. We were 2 months delayed, but that realization kicked in ki, okay, hiring is something which is a challenge for Indian ecosystem. So but at the same time I visited diverse part of India where I also got exposed to a lot of non-ITC units, because ITC was great paymaster, great working conditions and factories, like pays on time, treats people, employees really well, right? It was great factory which I was part of. But like a lot of outside units where you see that it's not the same. I saw people working extremely hard, but they were not getting the right pay. They were underpaid. Their working conditions weren't good. Managers weren't treating them well. And then I started talking to these people because I was working with them on some things we needed to do. And I realized that they all had dreams. They had equally skilled, but they had started giving up on it. And that hit me. Yeah, why, right? Like I'm not okay. I was like an assistant project manager or something like that. I'm not okay being assistant project manager for next 20 years.
Right.
But then why are people around here suddenly become okay with, okay, this is all I do and this is all I will do? And then I realized they were actually not. They didn't want to remain then, but they didn't know what else could happen for them.
Opportunities ही नहीं पता
They didn't
चल
know
रही.
these jobs existed for them. Then I realized, okay, it's India में jobs है, opportunities है, but people don't know how to get connected with it. Right? So this problem was very, very clear now in my head. What is happening? I think this was now 2014. After a few years in ITC, I got the confidence, chalo solve karte इस problem को out. I started to think, can I build something of mine to solve it? Yeah, but उस time पे tech wasn't there, smartphone apps. So I built a small prototype on IVR. So phone करोगे आपको number बताएगा, 1 पे ये job है, 2 पे ये job है, 3 पे ये job है, right? So I built that, but then realized it's very hard to scale it. Like, how do you manage so many diverse jobs, so many different people, etc., applying to jobs?
Plus ops extensive intensive भी होगा काफी ज़्यादा.
So then I realized यार ये solve कैसे करूँ मुझे नहीं पता है. So luckily at that time I had gotten into Stanford.
Okay.
And फिर ऐसे यार Stanford, like get access to some Silicon Valley, like would learn there. And that was my thing, यार tech से solve कर सकते हैं, but कैसे I don't know at all. And so that's what my realization was, यार ये problem अच्छा है. And that's also why I joined Uber, right? The whole problem of democratizing job opportunities was one of the main reason why I also joined Uber. The mission was again close to what I wanted to do. And Uber was also the fastest growing company, right? So one advice I had gotten, and maybe I would also share, is so Eric Schmidt, who is the ex-chairman and CEO of Google,
Right.
he took a class at Stanford, and he gave one advice: yeah, be at a place which is growing so fast that it will pull you up. Right? You will be exposed to so many things you would have never imagined.
Exponential growth you will get from there.
Not just exponential to hoga in terms of your financial, but that can be a risky, right? If you're joining
right.
startup, you need to accept it can go either way, or but the exponential diversity of problems you'll be get exposed to is just going to be fantastic.
Right.
And so he had given this advice. I know he had given his advice to his kids. And I said, okay, I mean, if this guy is saying, he knows it, right? And Uber was the fastest growing company. So I took his advice at heart and was fantastic. I spent time in 4 years across product, data, business, enterprise sales, operations. In that 4 years, spread across US, Europe, Middle East, across food business, food delivery business, and the rides business. So आई ऑलवेज वांटेड यार धंधा बनाना है तो सारे फंक्शन समझ में आने चाहिए इन डिसेंट कैपेसिटी,
और वो लर्निंग वहां से
सो दैट लर्निंग ऑफ ऑल फंक्शंस में क्या होता है एंड क्या नीडेड है टू बिल्ड अ सक्सेसफुल टेक कंपनी. I learned from that, and at that time I was always in touch with Nirmit I had kicked off Apna, and but very soon once I realized it, I figured out a way to start working with the team, and that's why I joined Apna. Like it rounded back to that day one realization at ITC कि यार people are not getting connected to opportunities, recruiters are not getting the right people, and I realized Uber कर रहा है बट वो इंडिया में कितने ड्राइवर्स के लिए कर रहा होगा, 10 लाख.
हाँ राइट.
अपना वी आर नाउ एबल टू डू दैट फॉर इंडिया फॉर 5 crores.
राइट.
राइट, सो दैट रियलाइजेशन जो उबर कर रहा था, वी आर नाउ एबल टू डू एट अपना एट 5 crore पीपल. एंड आई थिंक वी ऑल एट अपना फील कि वी ऑल से कि यार बिकॉज ऑफ ऑल द हार्ड वर्क वी डू, nobody in our country needs to be without an employment and a livelihood. No family needs to go through that, and we all feel that's our pride, that's our mission, and that's why I joined Apna about it.
Got it. So 2010-11 में जो आपने प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट देखा था, दैट बेसिकली ट्रांसलेटेड इनटू यू जॉइनिंग अपना एंड देन बिल्डिंग इट बॉटम्स अप. एक मैं भी जो देखता हूँ कंटेंट क्रिएशन के थ्रू भी कि पीपल राइट नाउ फील वेरी मिसगाइडेड कि कौन से जॉब्स अप्लाई करने, क्या करने. मतलब आई कीप ऑन गेटिंग इन माई इनबॉक्स की कोई मैकेनिकल का है पर वो पूछता रहता है कि मैं आईटी में कैसे चला जाऊँ, या कोई आईटी का है उसको चाहिए कि यार कल को मैं प्रोडक्ट मैनेजमेंट में कैसे मूव करूँ. तो इंडिया की जॉब नीड्स काफ़ी डाइवर्स हैं. इफ़ आई टॉक अबाउट अपना, तो आप ये जो पर्टिकुलर सेगमेंट है इसकी अपस्किलिंग के ऊपर क्या कुछ इनिशिएटिव्स आप ले रहे हैं, या इनको नेटवर्क या प्रोफेशनल कैपेसिटी बिल्ड करने के लिए व्हाट आर सम ऑफ द थिंग्स दैट यू गाइस आर प्लानिंग टू डू?
So I think, see, currently what we do at Apna is we first help you. People say कि job matching, people को match कर दो, AI को कर दो, हो जाएगा. But think about it. A lot of you might have had LinkedIn, might have had heard about these big companies. अभी भी होता है. Can LinkedIn just magically match you to your dream job and everything happens on your own?
No, I think people still are struggling.
Correct.
क्योंकि मिलता ही नहीं कि मेरे लिए एग्जैक्ट जॉब क्या है, वो बहुत बड़ा
So because
प्रॉब्लम है.
what we have gone above and beyond is, it's just not ये job and skill, right? We are humans. So I have dreams. So what we capture about a user is, what do you know today? What have you done? What are your dreams and aspiration? What are your work preferences? What are your, hey, I want something flexible, part-time, along with work from home. So we understand all of these elements about a user,
Right.
and get all of these aspects from the employer also. So when our matching happens, it's as close to magic as possible, right? Obviously, there is a lot of intangibles which come into you deciding to join the company or not. Do you like the culture? Do you like the interaction with the manager, etc., etc.? But there's still a lot more beyond just skill matching. So first thing we do really well is know your skills, know your aspirations, and then try to do the job
I think
matching.
nobody is capturing aspirations, and that is one thing that is differentiating here.
So the other thing I said, but as you said, right, not that doesn't mean you have aspiration means you'll get that job.
Right.
So what we have done is, it's a journey to get your aspiration to that. So we as a company learn from the recruiters' acceptance, rejections, etc., etc. Okay, you are aspiring to do this, but these are some of the jobs you are failing because you are getting rejected.
Right.
So from there, we identify what are the skills gap you have. And we only focus, right now what we have built is a community and professional network related to those topics. So when we realize the person is failing for that one or two skills, they can interact with peers in that group of skills. So they can learn from each other around it. And over time, we will be building our own curriculum, or you can call it Apna University or whichever. We haven't, that's more like for us to figure out, but the vision is clear. सॉल्व करने के लिए करना ये सब कुछ करना पड़ेगा. वी हैव डन द फर्स्ट 2 पार्ट्स ऑफ मैचिंग एंड प्रोफेशनल नेटवर्किंग फॉर इट.
गॉट इट. फ्रॉम योर जर्नी करना मेरे को ये समझ में आया 3 की चीज़ें हैं कि एक तो आपके पास स्किल होनी चाहिए, सेकंड आपके पास इंटेंट होना चाहिए, थर्ड नेटवर्क भी बहुत
या
स्ट्रांग आपका होना चाहिए, देन ओनली यू विल बी एबल टू मेक दीज मूव. सो नेटवर्किंग इज ऑल्सो समथिंग दैट यू गाइज आर फोकसिंग ऑन
या
राइट नाउ.
Yeah, so networking. So we talk to a lot of users on the networking. So there are two ways of networking, right? Obviously, there's some networks like LinkedIn, etc.,
Right, right.
which everyone is connected. So it does solve some part of it. But if you go in your early career, na, LinkedIn is a little bit like go figure it out.
आप ओवरवेल्म भी हो
It's
जाते हो कि यार
overwhelming, and so a lot of people can't, right? And it's also even if they try to, it doesn't work for them well. So what we realize is okay, let's not try to focus too much on the same way. We will solve networking based on your professional need and expose you to a close group of network about your own profession. So if you say, for example, you are doing a bank, you're working for a bank and you are doing it a bank, so we'll expose you to a community of people in the banking industry. It doesn't necessarily mean that, oh, I know this person directly or indirectly. Those all elements are there in our algorithm, but people who are enthusiastic about talking and teaching and sharing knowledge about this industry are all on Apna, and they do that within our community. So we have our own take on what are the needs of the user in the networking space and help them do that.
आई थिंक दैट इज़ क्वाइट हेल्पफुल, क्योंकि जो मेरे को समझ में आता है कि अगर आप ऐसे पूल में हो तो कल को क्या लेटेस्ट चल रहा है मेरी इंडस्ट्री में, या भी मेरे को रेफरल ही चाहिए किसी के थ्रू, वो सारी चीज़ें प्रॉब्लम यहाँ पे सॉल्व हो जाती हैं. यू हैव बीन वर्किंग इन दिस मार्केट फॉर क्वाइट सम टाइम. व्हाट हैव बीन योर लर्निंग अबाउट इंडिया जॉब मार्केट? व्हाट आर द चैलेंजेस दैट यू सी एंड व्हाट इज द पोटेंशियल दैट दिस मार्केट होल्ड्स?
So I think India has massive growth potential, right? A lot of jobs in India just are getting formalized. When I say formalized is uh, they're getting online, the availability and clarity of what it is. So a lot of SMBs are now growing, right? A lot of small business of India growing massively. So as they grow, they're getting formalized from an informal way of hiring people. So first, the growth is actually happening in a lot of small businesses. Growth is actually happening in a lot of tier 2, tier 3 cities of India. Actually, some of the biggest banks and the biggest enterprises we work with, they are coming to us. Hey, to Apna, can you go and solve in tier 2, 3 city? We want to expand our business there, but we don't know how to find the right talent over there.
Right.
So one is, and surprisingly, there is an amazing pull for a lot of people. So a lot of people might have moved to a tier 1 city because that's where they thought is their only chance. They have to move away from their family. It's their only chance to make a career. But actually now it's a very attractive value proposition for some people who were born and brought up from tier 2, 3. They have families there. They can actually get the same type of opportunities, which they didn't. They only got it in tier 1 metros of India.
Right.
So that's one trend. Like SMBs are growing. Tier 2, tier 3 cities are also growing. I think the second shift we are seeing in some of industry growth, while IT industry is slowed, all the other industries, manufacturing, retail, finance, are all booming in India. And that's where we are Apna is seeing fantastic growth also. All the sectors, as you can imagine, within these industries, such as sales, marketing, accounting, office jobs, right, even to delivery boys, logistics, all of those segments are booming in India, right? And that's one shift we are seeing in industry where these sectors are also upcoming. Third, I would say is long term. I do see when AI will come, it will create certain type of more job opportunities, or there are diverse job opportunities which will come up, and India needs to start preparing for those skills. But at the same time, I would like to talk about one very important thing, right? Like, what is India's strength today? India's average population is around 27, 28.
Yeah, average
right?
is around 20.
Versus some of the developing economies, China, even Japan is like much in the 30s.
They're aging faster.
They're much aging faster. So our strength is the workforce, the young workforce of India. Now we have to be careful, right? The biggest strength can also become a biggest challenge if not channelized well. Imagine all the youth not having the right career access. What will they do? Right? That can have different kind of socioeconomic impact. So one trend which we all have to solve. It's not a small problem. But if you think about, can India be the workforce of the world? Because we have the largest number of English-speaking young population which can serve the world. And that's a massive opportunity in the long term, which I am very excited by. And I definitely hope and wish that Apna will do its part on solving this problem. It's a massive problem. A lot of people will be needed to kind of make it happen.
Right.
But India is extremely fortunately well suited to make it happen from here.
One thing I would like to touch base on ki, like we were also discussing prior to this podcast ki there is this SMB segment which has its aspiration when it comes to hiring. So if we talk about this segment, can you give a brief overview ki SMB segment hai kya, what are their needs, so
Yeah.
maybe those small or medium businesses who are watching this podcast, they also get to know about it.
So my father had a small MSME business, like even founder Nirmid, his family had it, right? So the needs, what we learned is the Indian business owner is very very aspirational. They are very optimistic. They are very they're extremely smart business CV on the ground people. Now but traditionally the way they were hiring, they were limited to referral which come from their own people of
Right.
now the people network are only limited, right? Now because of digital platform, they are suddenly able to get the best talent which your largest enterprise or any industry you can imagine, right? From Reliance, Tata, Birla, who would be able to hire.
Right.
Now the SMB can hire the same talent pool, which earlier was not possible, and they have all the data available on what do you need to pay these people, what kind of the talent it is, right? So first, they have an equal playing field now if they want to access talent, which didn't exist before. I think the second thing which we need to know about this consumer is their value. They are not price sensitive, frankly. They are value conscious, right? If you deliver an outcome, they are the best customers, right? They don't need a lot of different tools and features which you'll need maybe if you're hiring for a large enterprise, which we also build. We have built tools for large enterprise because you are hiring as an entire team. But SMB, he or she is hiring with a very small team, so they need a very simple product which does the job very very fast and efficient. So it's a very value conscious person. You can invest and charge whatever it takes to actually deliver a great experience, and you should. It's a bad outcome if you are saying, hey, I'll price it cheap but you don't deliver.
Right.
Rather price it fair and deliver outcome and the consumer pays. It's a myth that Indian SMBs can't doesn't pay. Actually, Apna last year, if I remember, 2 lakh plus SMBs paid Apna to hire, right? And that tells us, okay, there is the pool is massive. We have seen that if you deliver value, they are more than happy to pay.
Got it. Yeah, so basically the what I can say is कि जो आपका main core है, अगर आप इस पे नीचे bottom of pyramid पे भी focus करते हो, then that also has massive potential in India compared to others. One more thing I think people watching this podcast would like to know, मैं आपका भी take जानना चाहूँगा, is English essential for your career growth in India? जैसे आपने बात की थी अभी vernacular is also picking up. If you can touch base on that, that will be really helpful.
So I think I don't think it's essential, but if you are catering to, as you start catering to a larger segment of users, English helps, right? It's a communication medium which India is a massive country with so many languages, right? But if you can do and communicate in English well, you can sell or talk or interact with a much larger ways across the India. If you have a business which can solve in one region, I think it's okay. You can still do that fantastically. But I do believe it's an important skill. Communication in itself is an important skill which sometimes is ignored, and communication is as effective as other person can understand you, right? So depending on the people you are talking, you just need to be able to communicate that language.
So if you are somebody who is very proficient in vernacular language, maybe just adding a layer of English will open opportunities. And I think
100%.
Apna has multiple such opportunities for people who are there,
Yes.
right?
So I think we at Apna, we kind of enable employers and also candidates to kind of share their language skills, and our matching algorithm actually takes that into account and does the matching on it, because it's a very important parameter to get outcomes on both sides.
Got it. So we talked a lot about from candidate point of view. For employers, what are some of the things that you are doing differently which helps them solve their problem at a scale?
Yeah, so I think our focus for employer is just hire efficiently and fast. I think and what does that even mean? What it means is like lot of hiring traditionally was a lot of classified, right? Where you post a job and anyone will apply, and then it's a pretty hard job for a recruiter. Imagine a business owner who's juggling 10 things also.
Right.
To figure out who should I talk to, who should I not talk to, etc., etc. So what we have done is we have built our AI engine, which basically is smart. What it does is, if I'm very confident, Shashank, you are a good match, then you get a direct line to the recruiter right there. So
basically.
you can directly WhatsApp the recruiter, you can directly call the recruiter directly, and that's a magic moment on both sides. Imagine you just posted a job and 5 candidates just called you who are a great fit for it.
Right.
It's such a magical experience versus going through that hassle.
Hundreds of CV, then
Yeah.
shortlisting three or
Correct.
four of
So
them.
this is what this magic experience is what Apna enables for recruiters. And now we have built products and services which can scale from a single owner hiring to a small recruiting team hiring to a massive enterprise with 100,000 people hiring.
Right.
Because so those tools we have included, but the principle is very simple. Get recruiter to get connected with the interested candidate as fast, as seamlessly as possible, and that's where the magic happens.
So, Karna, a lot of people watching this podcast would also want to start something of their own, but they are afraid कि यार मैं कैसे start करूँ, 0 से 1 की journey क्या रहेगी? And you all have scaled Apna to such a level. Can you share the story behind Apna so that people watching this podcast can get motivated कि अगर उन्हें कुछ अपना start करना है, they can kick a start on that journey?
So yeah, so Shashank, yeah, Apna, see, now we are big, right, in terms of our scale. So we now have, say, 5 crore plus users registered on Apna, and around 5 lakh recruiters and 1,000 plus enterprises are using Apna, right? So when it looks now we have achieved scale, but frankly, when Nirmit started and when I joined, we didn't expect it, right? So first thing I would say, we didn't expect it, and I'll tell you the story of Apna and why. But first thing I would share because of that is the realization for people starting here. 1 out of 10 startup, even in good terms, succeed. So don't start with the pressure कि वो फेल हो जाएगा तो क्या होगा, right?
Struggle नहीं, hustle करो.
हाँ, स्ट्रगल नहीं, हसल करो. फेलियर तो आता रहेगा, जाता रहेगा, बट डोंट पुट दैट अनड्यू प्रेशर ऑन योरसेल्फ कि यार क्या हो जाएगा, फेल होगा तो, राइट? इट्स ओके. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is, yeah, why start something, right? And I'll tell you the story of Apna, which inspired Nirmit to start it. And it is really your mission से connect होना चाहिए. And the connection for Nirmit was why he started Apna was, I think so Nirmit also after his MBA was working in Silicon Valley. He was working at Apple and obviously like doing really well. I think I remember the reason what struck him कि यार अपना ही story क्या है. And a lot of people know or maybe do not know कि अपना का actual legal name is Apna Time, and it is inspired by the movie Gully Boy. Apna Time आएगा, and actually the legal name of Apna is Apna Time. And the story is Nirmit with his wife was watching this movie Gully Boy, right? And I'm sure a lot of you have seen it, and almost everyone at Apna has seen it. And there is a scene in the movie where Murad, who Ranveer Singh, who is the protagonist, Murad's dad, is scolding Murad ki why did you leave your job? And Murad left his job because he wanted to participate in his dream competition, and for that he had to leave his job, and his dad was scolding him. And his dad was saying कि तू कौन है, right? तू कौन है कि तू ये सब कर रहा है? And Murad says something कि कोई और मुझे बताएगा मैं कौन हूँ, right? मैं बताऊंगा ना मैं कौन हूँ, right? So that line was very hard hitting for. And second thing which was beautiful in his dad says कि सपने ऐसे देखो अपनी सच्चाई से मेल खाए. But Murad says कि नहीं, मैं अपनी सच्चाई बदलेगा जो मेरे सपनों से मेल खाए.
Right.
And that chord hit Lord Nirmit as well. कि यार, yeah, he was able to pursue it, but as you see society around it, sometimes for good reasons, कि यार बहुत hard होता है, fail हो जाओगे, they try to pull you back कि मत करो. Now, but Murad had, like, remember MC Stan
as a mentor,
right? Can Apna be that mentor which people don't have? And that was the inspiration behind Apna. Can we be that mentor for everyone? Superhero तो आप ही होंगे,
right?
हम तो सिर्फ mentor है जो आपको वहां तक ले जा सकते हैं. And that was a real inspiration for Apna. So I think coming back to it here, be passionate about the problem you want to solve. Because it's a hard journey. मज़ा भी बहुत आता है, stress भी बहुत लगता है. If you're not passionate about that problem, go do something else. Don't start it if you're not passionate about the problem you are trying to solve. So that's the second advice I'll give people who are starting up. And I think and then the third advice is, which we have learned, is focus on market and distribution a lot more. I think as a product, coming from a product company, you always think ki product banao. But I think unless you are like a chat GPT, which is like complete technology, which is going to be ahead of each other. The most important problem is how are gonna people, how are you going to distribute your product? How big is the market, right? And that is a lot of time people are very inward looking. So I would focus first, go and test that as much as you can. Now imagine Apna, we have built one of the best recruiting platform. But what would a recruiting platform do if there is no candidate and no employer, right? Distribution is extremely important. You need to have the most number of jobs and most number of candidates on your platform at the same time. Otherwise, even if you have the best product, you can't do anything. That's why our focus has been build the best product, but make sure you have the largest distribution of candidates and employers on your platform. That's the only time it can work. So focus on distribution as well, if you along with your product.
So basically, target addressable market should be large, and that is what you have identified at Apna. If we talk about a scale, what is the scale that you guys are operating right now? How many employers or how many candidates are there on the platform?
I think we have around 5 crore users registered their
That's
profile.
massive.
And knowing it's a jobs use case, obviously people keep coming back every month, right? It's not a daily use case product. But if you imagine 5 crore people for a professional use case is massive, because that's the digital working population. We are significantly starting to penetrate that at a massive level. And we internally measure a metric called lives impacted. And we yesterday hit a number called 3 crore 26 lakhs 777,300.
You remember it till last day?
Because we did it last day. We did this session with our sales team, and this we call lives impacted metric. What is this lives impacted? Apna till now have done 27 crore applications.
27 crore job applications.
27 crore job applications. Now, obviously, at this scale, you cannot track who actually got employed.
Right.
But through all the data we get from our enterprises who share how many, we know at minimum these many individuals have been impacted. And then if we multiply on average, say a family of 4, that's where we come up with the lives impacted metric. So we internally track this metric, and we know at minimum we have impacted 3 crore 27 lakh 77,300 lives in India.
And what's the plan for next 3 years? इस number को कहाँ तक ले जाने के बारे में?
I think this number, our goal is we should become the largest platform in India. So maybe if you think about it, India obviously have had fantastic company, right? Naukri.com is a fantastic brand, and all the kudos, they kickstarted this category, right? So they, I think, are at around 8 crore users. Okay. But it took their sweet time of 25 years. We believe at the pace which we are growing in 4 years, reaching 5 crore, we aim to become the largest platform in the country in next 3 years.
Got it. And which sectors you see will be picking up in next 2 to 3 years? Maybe sales, marketing. Which type of roles you anticipate?
So, यार सेल्स तो पिकअप होगा इंडिया में,
बिकॉज नई कंपनीज आएंगे, सब
नई कंपनीज आएंगे, एंड इंडिया इज relationship based market.
Right.
It's a very, I'm sure, I don't know, you from your experience at Google, they might operate very differently in US versus in India, I'm sure, and I've heard from it also.
Yeah, you were telling me कि मतलब अगर आपको vernacular language आती है तब sales भी easy हो जाती है. At the same time, sales representative needs to be there to build that relationship.
Correct.
So sales is one of those jobs. Do you feel IT also will pick up next?
So I think IT will pick up in some time, but I do imagine with the new technology of AI, IT will take some different shape, right? So you need people who are aware of the new Gen AI tools, how it makes coding efficient. So people who are on that wave will see massive growth. Right. Because that skill will be so much short in demand, and you can get so much more out of your time and effort if you do that. So I do believe over time it will scale. Right now it's still, all the products are in the product market fit stage. Right. But I do imagine the pace at which it's growing, IT is going to come back, but with a very different skill level, which will be in very high demand. I think apart from that, manufacturing is booming. India's retail, India is very aspirational, and you are seeing that aspiration bringing the consumer e-commerce, retail, that sector is going to grow. The financial inclusion which is happening across the India is going to grow.
Banking and will also see uplift.
I do believe over some years education will come back, but I feel not the typical edtech, but also a lot more career focused education will come with a lot more deeper use cases will also come back to India. So I do believe India is going to grow across segments. I think IT is going to grow a little bit later, but all rest of the other sectors of India are kind of pumping right now.
And these are the sectors are you also investing in right now to get more jobs on board?
Yeah, so we are working with all the largest companies now. in the non-IT sectors, and we have also kick-started efforts to start partnering with IT companies as well. I think, but the non-IT sector of Apna is kind of growing at a similar, much higher pace than the industry, because that's where we are catching up and getting all the employers onboarded.
So Karna, you interact with lot of employers, you see lot of candidate data, and I think there is little bit of doubt in mind of candidates also कि AI हमारी job तो नहीं ले लेगा.
Yeah.
So what suggestion would you like to give to them that how they should be coping up with this AI thing which is
So I think, I don't think AI job le lega. I think there will be some sector shifts. There will be few sectors which will take a different shape. Say, for example, if a lot of AI tools will improve customer success tools, which currently BPO industry, etc. But I believe now with those AI tools, the same people will be able to do much better support, and which means they will actually be able to scale to a lot more countries, geographies, which probably today we cannot, right? So I do believe there'll be shift in this. People will need to be trained on the job, but I don't think it's not gonna shift anything. I don't
it?
think there's risk to jobs. I think it's just on the ground training will be needed as you ramp up a lot more people, and companies will actually invest in on the ground training, right? Today a lot of times companies don't, because they don't know what results will come out of it. But I think companies will start seeing the results, and they'll also invest in the people to get them there.
Got it. So see in next 3 to 5 years अगर जॉब मार्केट की बात करें आपको हायर करना होगा तो आप कौन सी 2 या 3 स्किल्स हैं जिसको आप हमेशा प्रायोरिटाइज करते हो व्हाट यू लुक फॉर इन कैंडिडेट्स.
So yeah, one thing I look for in candidate is if the person comes with experience, is I do value, as I said, right? If you have worked in any high growth company and stuck through that high growth period, I would hire that. That for me is like the biggest signal. Okay, I want to talk to this person, because
Got it.
as I said, you get exposed to so many things and you learn so much there. So that is one thing which I always look at. Where have you worked and what was company doing at that time? So that is the first thing I look at. I think the second thing is more about that individual. There are two types of people, right? Like there are people who are, we have this principle of pirates in Navy. So pirates are people who love solving ambiguous problem. Doesn't really matter of, sometimes they're doing marketing operations, sometimes they're doing some product, but they are solving problems.
You can fit them anywhere.
You can fit them anywhere. So at an early stage of any company, we hired a lot of pilots, because that's what we need. Because what if you hire a person who is a Navy is the opposite. Like they do one job really well.
They
are very
like structured.
They are extremely disciplined. They take it to the next level. They are extremely good at it. But they may not want to do something completely different. And so in an early stage, when you are figuring out, you hire problem solvers who are like pirates, who enjoy doing that. As you go towards the later stages, you start identifying which functions you want to hire, which skills you want to hire, and then you hire a Navy person who is really good at it, has demonstrated ability to do that.
Got it. I think this question is for freshers who are watching this podcast. आज के टाइम में जॉब पाना उनके लिए काफी टफ हो गया बिकॉज ऑफ मैक्रो इकोनॉमिक एनवायरनमेंट. व्हाट सजेशन वुड यू लाइक टू गिव टू फ्रेशर्स बिकॉज यू वर आल्सो एट सम टाइम स्टार्टिंग अप. उनको क्या टिप देना चाहोगे कैसे सर्वाइव करें?
So I think the first thing I would say is definitely explore a lot more. I think fortunately and unfortunately, there is so many digital availability of options, which the good part of it is you will get access to a lot of that. But unfortunately, there are so many, which means you don't hear back from anyone, right? You sometimes don't know what's happening in that process. So first thing, but don't give up, right? You have to apply to a lot more, but go beyond it. Select which company you are applying for and why. You will have to differentiate yourself from the other, and that will only come from your, I really am passionate about this.
Like you told initially in the
Correct.
podcast कि 20s में explore करो
Yes.
थोड़ा.
Explore in 20s, take risk in 20s. If you have an idea which is nagging you to solve, go try explore doing that in your 20s, right? That's the best time to do this. And so a lot of freshers, this is a good time to figure out, hey, I actually could solve this problem, or I'm really interested in these type of companies or problems to solve, and go deep in that problem. I think shallow, I can apply to anywhere, will not differentiate you from others who will also think. The moment you know this is what I'm really interested in, I'm very sure you'll know 10 more things than somebody else who is applying.
Right.
And that's what will get you ahead.
Yeah, I think the community section that you are building on Apna, that also helps कि अगर मैं fresher हूँ, I'm interested in maybe say sales and banking, I can join those community, interact with people out there, maybe seek their help to grow.
Absolutely. So that's why we are doing communities. We have kicked off this series called Events, Apna Exclusives.
Right.
I think we were fortunate to have you on it, right? So you realize like we are doing events because people also love the synchronous version of communicating with each other, right? So that events on different topics. So the way we think is we'll do general events on resume, what careers to pick, which is applicable for everyone, and then we'll do specific events on how does careers in marketing look like, how does careers in retail industry look like, how does careers in banking look like, right? So explore those events to know what is the right fit for you. Once you know it, then start going deeper and deeper, and that is how I think our community and our product also is thinking about fresher hiring.
या काइंड ऑफ बीइंग अ मेंटर कि आपको
Yeah,
सारा गाइडेंस मिलेगा, आप इस पे आप फाउंडेशन बिल्ड करके
correct.
इट्स अप टू यू
मतलब
वेयर
हसल आपको करनी है, राइट?
हाँ स्ट्रगल नहीं करना है आपको हसल
नहीं,
करना
हसल करना
है
है. It's all in the path of getting ahead and building your own, achieving your own goal. So it's a hustle, and we all have done it, right? So the idea is always hustle आपको करना होगा. We want to be somebody who can help you do that.
Got it. And what do you think about influencer ecosystem? A
Yeah.
lot of influencers are there, matlab, including me. We put out content out there on jobs and interviews. What role do you see influencer playing in this whole piece of things when it comes?
Yeah, a lot actually, because see why do influencers become influencers, right? They get a lot of people following them. क्यों follow करते हैं? Because you deliver value to them,
Right.
right? So obviously people can deliver value in an entertainment space, which is also important when you need that. But a lot of career influencers, as you were talking about, right? They are delivering value, and that's why they are become an influencer. And people value a trusted voice who comes with experience to guide them, and that's absolutely essential. And that's why we have built communities. We invite a lot of influencers to build
Right.
out their content, run events with the students, maybe even sell a course which you are selling, which is actually helpful for the people. So we believe a lot about leveraging. Yes, career कितना diverse है यार, मतलब
हाँ.
there are thousands, and if you start pointing different career journeys, इतने तो career options है, सबकी journey अलग है. No one company will have the content or the understanding of it. So you need to know that. But you need to partner with so many people who are really good at figuring that out and getting in front of our users. And that's why we also invited influencers to our community products.
राइट. आई थिंक आपको ये पता चलना चाहिए कि यार मेरे को बस पिवट किस टाइम पे करना है, क्योंकि मैंने भी कई लोग से इंटरेक्ट किया, जब पूछता हूँ अपनी करियर जर्नी बताओ तो सब कहते हैं यार प्लान कभी नहीं किया था कि
Yeah.
इस कंपनी से इधर जाना है या इधर
Yeah.
जाना है. सो आई थिंक दैट ब्रिंग्स मी टू आवर नेक्स्ट सेक्शन. हम आपको थोड़ा सा स्पॉट पे डालेंगे एक रैपिड फायर खेल के आपके साथ. सो आई हैव सर्टेन सेट ऑफ क्वेश्चंस
Okay.
रेडी विद मी. आई जस्ट वांट टू आस्क देम टू यू. सो फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन फ्रॉम माय साइड इज कि आप मेरे को काफ़ी नर्डी लग रहे हैं. यू हैव बीन टू IIT, यू हैव बीन टू स्टैनफोर्ड. सो व्हाट इज वन बुक दैट यू विल रिकमेंड एवरीवन टू रीड?
How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. So, as you said, maybe I came from a little bit engineering background. That's a little bit about soft skills. Absolute must read. I think it's a very old book, but even if you read today, it's the most influential book which you can use in your professional career.
So which is one soft skill that you feel that should be there? It's not negotiable. अगर ये नहीं है तो कैंडिडेट आपके लिए फिर ग्रीन सिग्नल नहीं है.
Yeah, sales skill, and I mean sales skill in all careers, and I'll tell you why. Uh, when sales is a skill which is so underappreciated in India, but it's the most important skill for everyone. Even the CEO, when he or she starts the company, is selling to either an investor, to the first employee, to his or in team, right, to the customers. So, and when the HR is recruiting, he's also selling the company to them. When I am talking to my team, I am selling the vision for them to be part of. When I am going to an interview, I am selling myself, right? So one skill I look for is 10% sell. And this is one thing which I positively picked up from my time living in the US, where even as a kid, I know in India, when you are a kid, when you're good at something, मम्मी पापा बोलते हैं ना कि बेटा ज़्यादा मतलब बताओ, मतलब बोस्ट नहीं करना है.
हाँ, नजर लग जाएगी.
मतलब हाँ, बताना नहीं, अच्छा नहीं लगता है, राइट? हमें तो यही सिखाया गया था कि बेटा हम्बल रहो, विच इज़ अ ग्रेट स्किल. बट एट द सेम टाइम व्हाट पीपल मिस आउट ऑन इट इज, यूएस में मैं जब गया ना तो उनको बच्चों को बोलता है कि बेटा अपने आप को मार्केट और सेल तो करो जो तुम्हें आता है. तुम अपने आप को नहीं बता पाओगे तो कौन बताएगा? नो वन्स गॉट. सो सेल्स इज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट स्किल, राइट? एंड यूएस, इवन अ स्मॉल किड इज kind of guided ki हाँ, open your laminate stand and sell to somebody, to people, or work somewhere for some time, because you learn how to sell what you have done. And that's a very, very important skill. And that skill I look for in every candidate I hire, because it's not just because they don't have to go out and sell to my typical customer. They'll still have to sell to their team and colleagues on the projects they work with, if they are managing a team, right? The sales skill yaar bahut important hai. And nobody has perfected it, but it's a skill everyone should absolutely be working on.
Got it. Your days at IIT or your days at Stanford?
Whew. I say days at Apna, man.
Days at
Yeah.
got it. I think next question is ki, what do you look for in candidate if somebody is coming with a fancy degree versus somebody who comes with relevant skill set?
Relevant skill set and experiences.
Any day.
Yeah, any day.
Got it. And finally, one line that you will choose to describe India job market for you.
यार स्ट्रगल नहीं हसल चल रहा है मतलब आई थिंक दैट्स व्हाट इंडियन मार्केट इज opportunities are there but the best opportunities are highly competitive, right? So you need to hustle your way to get there, and hustle doesn't mean working hard. I want to differentiate. It doesn't mean working long hours, etc, etc. It just means being passionate about what you want to do, figuring out your own smart way of getting there. It's
Right.
not always about working the longest hours, which sometimes people mistake with it. Like it's working smart to get there.
ओके, मूविंग टू सर्टेन पर्सनल साइड ऑफ थिंग्स केसी, मेरे को आपसे ही पूछना था कि यू लेफ्ट अ हाई पेइंग जॉब एट ऊबर टू टेक अ प्लंज एट एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप. सो अगर किसी को ये करना है, कई बार लोग कंफ्यूज रहते हैं माइंड में यार कि सब चीज़ अच्छी चल रही है, सब बढ़िया है, सैलरी आ रही है, तो आपका क्या फ्रेमवर्क था? आपने क्या प्रो एंड कॉन देख के डिसीजन लिया कि मे बी इट्स द टाइम आई शुड स्टार्ट इट?
So I think three very clear points. I've thought about this because I made that trade-off, right? It was a meaningful trade-off. So 3 points. First thing is mission. Yeah, startup life can be very, very ups and downs. Mission अच्छा लग रहा है तो ही करना, नहीं तो you can, as you said, you can do something else. I think the second thing I would say is figure out your risk profile, right? मैंने सोचा, for me it was यार okay, I've gotten good degrees, right? IIT, Stanford. यार this is my insurance policy. अब नहीं risk लूंगा तो कब लूंगा, मतलब right? So I think figure out your own risk policy. For me it was very clear. कि यार अब नहीं लूंगा तो कब लूंगा? Like what is the point of it? So that is कि इसके बाद हो जाएगा ना कुछ ना कुछ.
हाँ,
So
right.
that is the reason. So I had a risk. See, entrepreneurs risk देख लेते because they have to, right? If you're building a business, you need to know your plan B, plan C. Lot of time, and plan B doesn't mean कि company नहीं बंद करना है, but it's always like you need to know how I will turn it around,
हाँ,
right? So you
right.
always going for it. So they know the risk as well. And then the third one is people. यार I think I learned at Stanford, हमारे क्लास होता था स्टार्टअप कल्चर पे, और उसमें हम बताया 70% ऑफ स्टार्टअप्स फेल बिकॉज जस्ट ऑफ फाउंडर और द co-founders और द कोर टीम इश्यूज,
राइट.
उसी में बंद हो जाता है. सो जस्ट बी वेरी श्योर अबाउट द पीपल यू वांट टू वर्क विद. वुड यू वांट टू just spend most of your daytime with them? And those are the three things. If you know these things are right, you can take that plunge.
सो देयर माइट बी डेज कि जब लगता हो यार ये सारी चीज़ें ट्राई की पर ये फेल कर गई, तो हाउ यू कोप अप विद योर फेलियर? व्हाट इज योर कोपिंग अप मैकेनिज्म?
So यार वन तो एक्सेप्टेंस है कि मिशन इतना बड़ा है ना कि पूरे इंडिया को एम्पावर करना, तो वो थोड़ा ह्यूमिलिटी तो लाई लेता है. हार्ड प्रॉब्लम है, फेल तो होना ही है. तीन चीज मतलब इतना बड़ा प्रॉब्लम तो गवर्नमेंट्स भी सॉल्व कर रही है सारी कंट्री से.
राइट, राइट.
तो तुम भी अगर वैसे प्रॉब्लम्स अटैक कर रहे हो तो फेलियर तो आने हैं. सो फर्स्ट इज जस्ट गेट सम रियलिज्म कि यार हार्ड प्रॉब्लम में फेलियर होता है, राइट? एंड वी रिमाइंड ईच अदर ऑफ दैट. आई थिंक दैट इज द फर्स्ट थिंग व्हिच गिव्स लॉट ऑफ कंफर्ट टू एवरीवन कि होता है फेलियर. ऑब्वियसली यू इंट्रोस्पेक्ट कि क्यों हुआ, इफ देयर आर ऑब्वियस थिंग्स, बट फेलियर होगा. So that helps cope. I think the second thing helps cope is your family, the support system behind you, right? So I have a young one, so at least every day I block 2 hours to make sure I'm spending those 2 hours with him, and that is brilliant, right? That's my 2 hours where I'm not, probably the only 2 hours where I'm not thinking about work, and that's my coping mechanism. That just recharges me every day for me.
Yeah,
So you need to find your own. आपका क्या है would be interesting to know, but everyone I'm
मेरा
sure
भी
have their
वही
own.
10 month old है,
Oh,
उसके साथ
nice.
टाइम स्पेंड
Congrats.
करके.
Yeah.
नहीं, पर ये मेरे को ये भी क्वेश्चन है, जैसे मैं अपने फ्रेंड से कई से पूछता हूँ कि यार स्टार्टअप करोगे, कहते हैं यार वर्क लाइफ बैलेंस पूरा ही हिल जाएगा, अभी चीज़ें सॉर्टेड हैं, घर पे भी टाइम दे पाते हैं. तो आपको भी लगता है कभी कभी कि यार थोड़ा सा टाइम मेरा इधर पर्सनल से कट हो रहा है, उधर लग रहा है, या हाउ डू यू कोप अप विद दैट?
वही मैं यार इट कम्स बैक टू मिशन. मतलब उसमें आपको मजा आ रहा है ना तो इतना फील नहीं होगा, बट इट इज वेरी ट्रू. मतलब देयर आर डेज वेयर सी द एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप कम्स विथ दोस ट्रेड ऑफ्स, बट आई हैव आल्सो सीन माय डैड हु is an entrepreneur in his own small
He
company.
must be on 24/7
But at
days.
the same time, when he needs off, he doesn't need to do it, right? If he needs to do something for his family, for somebody, he can just do it. So it has the pros also when some of those days as an entrepreneur, where if you need to do something, you don't need to worry about it. So वो pro होता है. But when you are enjoying what you're doing, I think वो कभी भी time इतना ले लेगा, but it comes with that trade-off. Your family needs to be an equal partner. agreeing that you are on this journey, right? Uske bina you will not enjoy it, your family will not enjoy it. So make sure your family is along the way with you on your journey as well.
Got it. I think work culture भी काफी जहाँ पे आप काम कर रहे हैं plays a big role. So how you're building that work culture at अपना? Because मेरी जितनों से interact हुआ है, everybody is a fan of your work culture. तो ये build कैसे हो रहा है from top down?
So I think change होता है, right, as a stage of company. So as I talked about, यार 0 to 1 stage था जब company का. So we all had pirates, and pirates like operating in a certain way. They like operating in, मेरे को problem दे दो मैं figure out कर लूँगा, right? That's the pirate, and they'll do figure it out, they'll hustle through. There is no like clear scope defined कि इसी तरीके से तुम ये करोगे. So at the 0 to 1 stage, set up the culture like that. कि यार pirates hire किए and pirates will work like this. Now over time, we have also started hiring a mix of navy. हमारे कुछ core businesses are very well defined now. We know this person will lead sales, this person will lead branding, this person will lead digital marketing, this person will lead engineering, product. And then hire those amazing navy for those roles who and empower them कि now you drive the long term vision of this, right? So उनको उस तरीके से set करो. We still have a small team of pirates who is always finding the new bets. So figure out the type of people you are hiring, create a org structure which does that, and I think that does 50% of it. Rest 50% is again make sure जो people आपको join कर रहे हैं वो आपके mission के लिए मजा आ रहा है उनको. Another 50% is solved by that. So if you are picked your people who are excited with these two parameters and how you operate, I think teams enjoy working.
You also told कि you were in गुड़गांव यहाँ पे आपने एक पूरा whole day का workshop किया with your sales team. So you keep your team motivated क्योंकि as a leader आपको तो पता है कि यार ठीक है मेरे कोई vision दिख रहा है पर team को हो सकता है big picture नहीं दिख रही हो क्योंकि वो तो अपना day to day जो task activities हैं उसको perform करते हैं. So what are some things that you do in this?
So we, as you said, we brought in our entire North region sales team, and lot of them have been recently joined Apna. So first thing we spend time on is helping them. First, helping them about why Apna. Make them feel the same pride we all feel. Yaar, Apna is solving such a big problem for the country. And I could see smile on everyone's face when they all said कि because of me, like no one in the country needs to go without an income. Right? So first, when everyone of us was saying that, we could see the pride which it brings in. They are going out in the market, finding recruiters, explaining a product, why it's better for them, right? So first, that was the first thing. You make sure your people are connected to the vision. Second thing is you have to talk to them in their own language. What I mean is, who is my user yesterday? My user yesterday was my sales team. So my pitch wasn't ki Apna will achieve these targets. My pitch was, what can Apna do so that you can 2x your incentives also, right? And you can get growth in your journey. Obviously, if all my team is hitting incentives, obviously my business is doing way better. Right. So my entire pitch yesterday was about how can I help you or Apna help you or our teams help you 2x your incentives. Because if you hit that, that's it. So talk in their language. They will resonate with it. And third, treat everyone with respect. Learn, get ideas from them. We got fantastic ideas from the team. And team actually, once we started listing down 2 people's ideas, 10 people came with 10 more ideas. And actually we also gave examples. These are the 3 ideas which A, B, and C had given. Ramesh from our Delhi team had given us an idea of how can we solve for insurance industry. And we gave that example, and that's why we built this product. 10 more people came up with ideas. Because if you showcase the people that their ideas are valued, recognized, they go above and beyond to even go further and give you that insight. Because who is the brand of Apna, right? They are probably the largest brand of Apna. They are talking to our customers. While we may be digitally serving most of our users, when our salesperson goes to an employer, they are the brand of Apna, right? So they need to also have the same connection with the company, and that's what you do. That's what you do to keep them motivated.
Got it. I think solving for the people in company to solving for India, you have a great mission at hand. Thank you so much for joining us for today's podcast. Thank you. It was great hosting you. I'll put Karna's LinkedIn profile link in the description section, guys. So you can go and follow him there. He keeps on sharing some great content.